it was to the point where it's like one wrong move, it was about to get active. I ain't gonna lie. Like, it was about to get active, and he was about to get hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't tripping. I got like 2 really good, interesting stories that you may or may not like. That can kind of, I wouldn't say it's an accurate representation of my entire time in Tokyo, but I do believe it's like some stories that is worth shedding light on. You know what I mean? So the first time I was in Tokyo, right, 2 things happened. One incident was, I think, completely uncalled for, and just irrational. And the second incident was, I want to say, reasonable, but handled extremely unreasonable. And was it because I'm black? Some would say yes, some would say no. But so the first incident, I was on the train and I'm just sitting down. You know, it's a train, it's busy, everybody's sitting down or whatever, right? So I'm sitting down, and then it's like a kid to the left of me, and I'm not sure if it was 1 kid or 2 kids, but it was 100% a kid to the left of me, and just like, I want to say, probably just a regular other person to the right of me. Nonetheless, it was 100% a kid. When I say kid, I mean like, he probably was like 13, 14, 15, 16, like something like that. He wasn't like 4 years old, but he was definitely like in like late middle school, early high school, something like that, right? And so this guy, he was an older gentleman, and not older as in like an old man. He probably was between 45 and 55, somewhere in there, okay? So he wasn't a senior citizen or anything like that, just an adult male, Japanese, of course. And what he did was he stood, I think I still have like a clip of this too. He stood like not right over me, but as close as you could get to being right over me without me standing up and pushing you away, okay? He was like pretty close, just standing in front of me. And it was the weirdest thing ever. And then he was staring at me. And at first, I thought like, okay, like, I thought he was gonna stop. He didn't stop. He kept staring at me. And so I stared at him. And then we just stared at each other for like, probably like 20, 30 seconds. Like, it was a while, like just staring at estaring at him like with just the blankest face ever, like just staring right back at him. And then he looks away, I think, and then looks back, and I just smile at him, and then I just go on about my day. But damn, I almost had to slap this weird on the plane, bro. Like, I'm not on the plane, but on the train. Like, nigga. What I think he was getting at was, I think he expected me to give my seat up, and I'm not sure why he expected me to give my seat up. I think it's one thing, you know, respect your elders. If it's an older individual, okay. If my 82-year-old grandpa is getting on the train, I will give up my seat. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal. But bro, this guy wasn't an old man. He was like 45 years old, 50 years old. Like, bro, I'm sorry, but I'm not giving you my seat. Another reason I wasn't about to do it is because I'm like, yo, it's this 15-year-old kid right next to me. Like, if you think I'm about to give up my seat and he's not, I'm like, why are you not pressing him? Like, he should be the one to be pressed. I'm a guest in your country. He's a 15-year-old kid. You tell him to get up and take his seat. Like, why are you staring in front of me? And he was standing right in front of me. Like, it was mad disrespectful. And, you know, I was like, I'm in a different country. When I'm in different countries, bro, I try my best to avoid trouble. I try my best to avoid trouble regardless of where I'm at, but definitely when I'm in a different country, because, bro, I can't even speak Japanese. You know, I don't know whose side they're gonna take. I just don't want any issues while I'm in a different country, okay? And so, you know, if I was in America, I would have said something. You feel me? It definitely would have been an issue. But I'm in Japan, I'm like, you know what? I'm not about to say anything to this guy. I'm gonna just let it slide, just let him rock. I want to say, like, after a while, after I smiled at him, he kind of just stopped staring at me. But we definitely had a staring contest, and it was crazy. And it was to the point where it's like one wrong move, it was about to get active. I ain't gonna lie, like, it was about to get active, and he was about to get hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't tripping. And I think this was like right when I was learning Muay Thai too. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was about to get active for real. But so yeah, and like I said, 45-year-old, like, older gentleman. And then the second incident. Now this one, like I said, I understand where he was coming from, but I think the way he handled it was completely out of pocket. And this guy he was an older Japanese man. So both of these are adult Japanese male. I don't know if that is a trend among the Japanese. Maybe that's the only issues I've had in Japan. Maybe that is a trend. Maybe the older Japanese people are, like, less accepting of people like me. I'm not really sure, but nonetheless, I was at, like, this little recreational type facility. That's what it looked like. Like, it might have a pool in it. It might have, like, a gym, kind of like a YMCA type of facility. That's what it looked like. And I went in there one time, like, my camera was dying, so I just went in there, set the camera on the charger, the battery on the charger, and I left. So I was coming back, and the first time I went, it was nobody in there, but, like, the employee that was, like, working there, and then it was just me, maybe one other person, but, like, nobody was in there. When I got back, it was a bunch of kids and, like, some parents and stuff, blah blah blah. But like I said, I was going in there strictly to get my battery, and that was it. And so when I got the battery, and when I was leaving, like, this guy, like I said, this older Japanese guy just started yelling at me, like, wholeheartedly, like, yelling at me, like, and I'm like, bro, what? Like, I'm mad confused. I'm like, yo, why is he talking to me so crazy right now? But obviously I have no clue what he's saying to me. And so I'm like, I'm kind of just like, I'm just confused. Like, number one, I don't know why he's yelling. Number two, I don't know what he's yelling. So I just don't know what, I have no clue what's going on. So I'm mad confused in the moment. And so I'm like, what? And he like yells some more. And I'm like, what? And he, like, points at my shoes. And I'm like, oh, okay, my bad, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And so apparently, like, you know, some places, like, for example, if I walk into Starbucks right now, I don't have to take my shoes off, okay? And, you know, some places, like, they might have a sign that says no shoes or something like that. But obviously, bro, I'm not from here, so I don't know. I'm not a perfect shoe taker offer, okay? I'm from a completely different culture, and so I'm not 100% aware of when is the right time to do certain things and when is not the right time to do certain things. And I'm not using, like, ignorance as an excuse, but I think with ignorance, like, if somebody was in my country and they was doing something that wasn't right, I would have some type of compassion. You know, I'm not about to just yell at them and assume that they know something when I know that they don't know something. And so he was tripping on me about the shoes, and that's why I said, okay, I'm not supposed to have shoes in here. That is reasonable, but he handled it completely unreasonable. And I don't know if, like, he would have handled it the same way if it was an Asian guy my age or if it was a white guy my age. But being that I'm black, you know, I don't want to, like, jump to, like, conclusions or anything. But hey, it is what it is. And so that was just another like very weird encounter. But if I'm being all the way honest, those were the only 2 strange encounters that I've had since I've been in Japan. And you know what I'm saying, common denominator is older Japanese men. So if you are from Japan or if you got experience in Japan, let me know. Is this like a, like if you ever experienced anything like this, was it that demographic or was it something different? Because I don't know, I think, you know, I was only in Japan for like 3-4 days and I experienced that with 2 different people but the same exact demographic. So I don't know if it's a them thing or what the case may be, but nonetheless, that was kind of odd. But like I said in the beginning of the video, I wouldn't say that this is an accurate representation of all of my time in Japan and how most people treat me. Most people do not treat me like that. There's a lot going on, but most people do not treat me like that. Most people treat me like a normal human being. That's literally the only 2 times that I had interactions that were less favorable and that I would have liked to avoid. And you know, I thought it was very, very weird. I'm not sure where it came from or why it came at the intensity that it came, but that's how it was received. And you know, it is what it is. But Japan isn't like that, you know what I mean? I haven't experienced that a lot. And the thing is also, right, and I tell people this, like, that might have happened, yeah, but the same thing will happen in America way more times, you know what I mean? And so, you know, I might walk into a store and just get followed around. That had to happen here. So I'm not gonna say like racism doesn't exist in other areas of the world, especially, well, I'll speak on Asia since we're talking about Asia, or even like Tokyo since we're talking about Tokyo. I'm not gonna make it seem like it just doesn't exist, because that's not true. But my thing is, it's not as prevalent, from my experience, it's not as prevalent as it is in the US. Like if I was to go down South Georgia to Valdosta, I think I would experience more racism there than I would in Tokyo. Not even I think, I know I would. Cause I've been there and I've experienced more racism there than I did in Tokyo. And so that's why I say Southeast Asia isn't, or not Southeast Asia, but Tokyo and Southeast Asia it's not that bad when it comes to racism. Also, I'm sorry if this video is a little bit dark. I'm just walking and talking, late night stroll with you guys. But the point I want to get to is that isn't an accurate representation, but it can happen. I'm not saying that it won't happen. It can happen and it probably will happen. But I think it's not likely and it's not an everyday occurrence. And I think those people just, I'm not sure how I feel about those people. But most people aren't like that. Like I said, a lot of people are just, you know, people do look, but at the same time, I'm black and I'm walking around with a camera. Like, people are going to look. It is what it is. But I don't think most of the time when people are looking, I don't think it's with ill intentions. I think it's like, number one, like I said, I'm walking around with a camera. Number two, I am black in Japan, so you know, people are going to look twice. You know, Japan is like pretty much all Japanese people. But yeah, and so I think, yeah, I don't know if I made this point earlier, but I wanted to like clarify this. Like, I understand like why he might have said, or why the guy with the shoes might have felt some type of way, but I'm like, bro, you didn't have to respond in that manner. Like, you didn't have to yell. Like, that was just weird. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, other than that, man, Japan is cool, bro. It's pretty chill. I haven't ran into any other issues. You know, maybe they might be saying something in Japanese that I don't understand. That could be the case, but for the most part, nobody has came and directly disrespected me. I haven't walked in the store and been followed. I haven't been any type of disrespect. I have not received. And so I just be chilling out here, bro. And also at the same time, I do want to say, I do believe the younger generation is much more accepting than the older generation, but that makes sense. Usually younger people are less jaded and down to accept something new than people that are stuck in their ways and believe whatever it is that they want to believe, you know. From what I see, the younger generation, they enjoy our culture, and they might not fully understand it sometimes, or they might not fully express it in the best way in terms of you know, like the whole appropriation is a thing or whatever. But I think nonetheless it comes from a good place though, you know what I mean? I don't think it comes from a place of malice. Like the two guys that I spoke with, that came from, wow, that came from a place of malice and hate, for sure. But when people are, you know, dressing like us or wearing locks, I don't think that comes from a place of hate. I think that comes from a place of appreciation. And so that also, it's a lot of that in Japan. It's a lot of black culture appreciation, okay? And then on top of that, another issue that I think you might run into as a black person in Japan is, you know, there is a language barrier. So for example, that guy who got upset for me wearing my shoes, maybe it was a sign clear as day that said no shoes in here, that I was not able to read because I don't speak the language. And you know, I'm in their country, so it's like, okay, I get it. But that's why I said, like, I feel like, you know, ignorance isn't an excuse, but I think it should garner some type of empathy and understanding of why somebody might not be doing what he's supposed to do, especially, you know what I'm saying? And so that's one thing. And then on top of that, you know, cultural norms are different, okay? So something that might be normal in America, or if you're from the UK or wherever you're from, if you're black, something that might be normal where you're from might be seen as disrespectful here, and you just won't know. And I think that once again, it's just something, I feel like that deserves understanding. Like, you gotta understand, like, bro, everybody isn't gonna know how the culture operates. I think it's one thing if somebody is being a disturbance and just being plain like disrespectful to the country, but it's another thing if I'm just doing me, not bothering anybody, and I happen to be doing something incorrect. You know, I think it's certain ways to handle different situations, and I think it should be taken into account that, hey, he might not know X, Y, Z. And communication goes a long way, and you know, unfortunately, it's two completely different languages, so the communication is gonna get lost in translation every now and then, even if it's attempted at all. It might not be attempted at all. It might be no communication at all. And yeah, man, so, you know, being black anywhere is an interesting experience, okay? No matter where you go, you're always going to be black. No matter where you go, there's always going to be some type of racism. Maybe not a lot, maybe just a little bit, but you're always going to be black. So don't ever think you can go somewhere in this world and you don't have this skin and you won't be treated differently because of that skin, okay? Embrace it, and, you know, embrace it, okay? A lot of people love this skin. A lot of people do things to get darker skin. A lot of people do the things that we do. So don't ever let anybody discourage you or try to discredit you or make you feel bad for who you are, okay? But yeah, so this is my experience being black in Tokyo. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. All I ask is that you please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch up with you guys in another video. Thank you.